Janananda Maharaj has compiled a little book, Animals in Krishna Consciousness, and which I just recently saw. One of them is about a cow who would come into the temple. Because she was a cow, the devotees let her in the temple room. And because even she passed stool and urine in the temple room that's purifying, she would come and sit and listen to the class, especially if it was in Hindi. So she in English, she'd wander off. If it was in Hindi, she would stay, listen to the whole class. And she would come every day to the class and every day to the arti. And he gave many other examples of animals that weren't allowed in the temple room, like dogs and cats or elephants. We had an example in North Carolina, one devotee who came to the temple. He joined the movement with his cat. And it was a country temple, so we could have the cat on the property. Bhakti Tom, his name was. And he would come every day to Mangalarti, more steady than a lot of the human body devotees. And he would sit outside the window. We had a window that went all the way down to the ground, to the floor. So he would sit right outside the window and he would watch the deities and watch the Mangalarti. And he'd also come for class every day. He'd sit outside the door. And when the speaker would say, "Any questions?" he'd go, "Meow." We had to close the glass, otherwise he'd make so much noise at question times. Nobody could hear anything. And you know how cats are really fastidious about grooming themselves? He never groomed himself. He was always very kind of motley looking. He wasn't a very well-groomed cat. And he would eat really non-cat food. He'd eat whatever prasadam we give him, even things like watermelon. Watermelon and corn on the cob, and he would eat even like, he wouldn't just stick his mouth in the prasadam, he would take his paw and he would scoop up the prasadam and put it in his mouth. His only fault was that he didn't remain brahmachari. He fathered a few kittens on the property, but other than that, he was a very unusual cat. But certainly it wasn't a very favorable body. Right? We never let him into the temple room. Right? How could he chant the Maha Mantra? I mean, Shivananda Singh's dog was chanting Hari Rama, Hari Rama. But I never heard Bhakti Tom chanting. So it wasn't a very favorable body. And although the devotees were kind to him, nobody ever sat down with Bhakti Tom and, talked about Krishna book or anything like that. So that's certainly a situation where devotional service is very, very difficult. And again, I don't think any of us have been in a situation in this life where the devotee said, "Okay, you can only go to Mangalarti outside the window." And you can't even come in the temple room. So that is a kind of fall down. Now, how did these three personalities fall? Well, it's interesting. Indrajumna had gone to the forest to perform austerities. And there, while he was in a deep, ecstatic trance of meditation, Agastya Muni came by, and Agastya Muni was not received by Indrajumna because he was in trance. Are there other stories like this in the Shastra? And Agastya Muni got angry and he said, "You're acting just like an animal. You're this big, strong kshatriya." He said, "You have this big, strong body, but you don't have any intelligence. Become an elephant." And Prabhupada explains there that Indrajumna was so much wanting to be reinstated in his original position in the spiritual world immediately. His desire was very, very strong. And Krishna could see that it was going to take him some time to clean out the dirt in his heart. But by becoming an elephant, he could clean it out very, very quickly. And this would be the fast. Krishna always does the fastest, easiest, least painful way of purification. Always. So he saw, this will be a much faster way. Become an elephant. And of course, in the body of an elephant, he once entered into the lake with his lady elephants, and he was assaulted by a crocodile. And at that point he remembered. So although he was an elephant body, he remembered who he was, and he remembered his prayers. And this very nice purport, Prabhupada says there that all of us should practice some prayers. He said we should certainly learn the Hare Krishna mantra, so we should also learn other prayers. And he mentions the Brahma Samhita and the prayers to Lord Nrsimha. He said, so if by chance we become an animal, we'll be able to remember those prayers in whatever body we come. By saying those prayers in distress, he was in distress, but still he decided that he wanted to take complete shelter, although his initial impetus was his distress. From that position, he came to the point of, yes, I completely want Krishna. That's the whole purpose of sadhana bhakti, as Krishna explains in the 12th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. The whole purpose of Abhyas Yoga is to develop ichcha, or desire. So Indrajumna, in the body of an elephant, being bitten by a crocodile for thousands of years, his desire for Krishna became so strong. that he attained his eternal form and went back to God. And Krishna knew that the way to intensify his desire very quickly would be to put him in that situation. Then Chitraketu saw the Supreme Lord personally. Personally saw the Supreme Lord, Sankarshan. And he was flying in this celestial airplane with these demigoddesses he was taking out a woman's Sankirtan body. We've tried that sometimes, it just kind of doesn't work really well. So Chitraketu was very proud. Prabhupada explains, I saw the Supreme Lord. So sometimes this happens. Right? Sometimes a devotee will get special mercy, special revelation, have some special service, and then think, I'm a great devotee, I've gotten Krishna's favor. So he was thinking like that, and in that mood, he, in a friendly mood, but with some pride, he criticized Lord Shiva. He was saying, why is Lord Shiva in front of, like here doing Bhagavatam class, we don't expect that, my husband's going to sit next to me and we're embracing each other while we're giving class. That would be a little odd. So Lord Shiva, he's embracing Parvati on his lap while he's giving a class to all these sages. And Chitraketu said, well, that's pretty funny. Lord Shiva's behaving, here he is in an assembly of sages, he's behaving like an ordinary person. And Chitraketu's purpose was he wanted Lord Shiva to stop that behavior because he felt it was a bad example. But he really shouldn't have taken that position of correcting Lord Shiva, especially in front of everybody. And his motive was good, but he had some pride. And Lord Shiva didn't mind. He thought, I understand, he's being friendly. But Parvati, she didn't like that her husband was being criticized. And she said, who are you anyway? Why are you so arrogant? Become a demon. And Chitraketu took it that this is Krishna's arrangement. This is Krishna putting me in this situation by his favor. And again, Prabhupada explains that Krishna could understand that if he wanted Chitraketu to become purified very, very quickly, it was better to put him in a low form. That there he'd be in a position of humility. And there, of course, as Vritasura, he gave nice instruction to Indra. He was saying, Indra, please kill me so that I can go back to home, back to Godhead. Right? You go ahead, you be victorious, you gain opulences. I don't really care about any of that stuff. I just want to serve the Lord. Finish off this body. But Chitraketu was very happy. Whatever reverse circumstances I'm in, that's the Lord's kindness on me. How interesting that in both of these cases, we have a condition that apparently is an obstacle, right? To be a demon, some huge demon. Again, what sages are going to invite you to satsang if you're this big demon? Or who's going to invite you in if you're an elephant? What kind of spiritual opportunity will you have? What a great impediment for spiritual life, apparently. But actually, it wasn't an impediment at all. It was a facility to increase devotional service. And that's how both Indradyumna and Chitraketu saw it. This is some opportunity. Krishna's accelerating my progress. And we all want our progress, I hope. We all want our progress to be accelerated. Sometimes devotees don't. Someone just the other day said to me, I've decided I want to go more slowly. I want to go really gradually. I want to slow down my Krishna consciousness. Generally, devotees say, how can I speed up my Krishna consciousness? But every once in a while, people say, how can I slow it down? How can I go back to Godhead later? How can I? Someone just said this to me. But that's what they're saying. I want to go more gradually. Krishna, I think I'd like to take 100 more lifetimes to go back to Godhead and speed it up.